Now, two things you ought to know. Do not confuse differences with diversity. Do not confuse what? Differences with diversity. We've always had differences in America. We have not always had diversity at every level of the organization exercising leadership. Are you with me? Women have always worked in the workplace. They have not always been represented at every level of the organization. Let me illustrate. One time I got a call from one of these major hotel chains. General manager calls me up. Says, Dr. B, saw your videotape. The one that the judge ruled in the Denny's case have to be utilized in order to educate workers. Loved it. In it you promised. You said that if we have diversity, we can have a more prosperous future. Well, I got news for you. I got diversity and I don't have that prosperous future. Could you come down to this hotel, meet with me, and tell me why your assessment was wrong? I said, uh-oh. This is a job for diversity, man. So I took off and said, what's up? But the man said he had what? Diversity, but he was not getting what? The prosperous future. And we said that diversity will give you synergy, that diversity will unleash the potential of all of God's children, that diversity will reduce negative tension, that diversity will give us a competitive advantage, that diversity will give us diversity of thought at every level of the organization, that diversity is just the place where people will make you their employer of choice. We said all of that in the tapes, and now he wanted to know how come he had diversity and people were not enthusiastic and passionate about showing up to work. So I figured, man, I got some work. So I looked around his hotel and looked around, and 2 hours later I met him at the office. I said, I think I figured it out, sir. May I sit down? He said, please. I said, what you got is not diversity, what you got is differences. He says, what do you mean? Oh, I said, I found out that it was right. You said you had blacks and whites and gays and straights and males and females. You do. But when I check out what black people did, black males were dealing with valet parking. They were handling the baggage. They were wrestling with tables, getting ready for the banquets. For the most part, that's what black males did. So you got black males, but you got them doing this job. I want all of you right now, if you're normal, to put on your normal hats right now. What do you think Hispanic females and black females and Asian females were doing in his hotel? How'd you know that? Because I'm normal. How do you know that? Because you're normal. You know that. So they had differences, but they didn't have what?
Diversity.
They didn't have diversity of thought at every level of the organization. Oh, they had some gay folks, man. Some of them had, oh my goodness, they were beautiful. And I mean, polyester did not touch the body of some of those professionals. Where do you think we found them?
Behind the counter.
Front desk, concierge. Oh, they had Hispanics, stewards.
Yeah.
Oh, they had white Europeans, Polish and Irish and all of those folks. Where do you think we found them? Engineering and so forth. And they had their nephews, and there's a lot of cronyism and social nepotism and all of that. And then we had some floaters. And if you were a heavy-set male or female professional, where will they not put you?
In the
Front desk. They didn't have the capacity to understand that if you took the concierge desk, you do not have to be an able, full-body person to occupy that position. All you need to do is be on a wheelchair, have fire in your belly, intelligence, have one of those phones, what do you call them? Headphones and a computer. And when somebody comes to Chicago and says to you, do you have museums? What is the answer? Absolutely. Name some. Science and industry, history. You got yourself the Historical Society. You got wonderful places like the aquarium. Do you have a zoo? Yeah, we got the Lincoln Zoo, and we got over there on Broadview, we got the Brookfield Zoo. And do we care about sports? Absolutely. We used to have a good basketball team. Oh, you're not interested in baseball? Great, you can see the Cubs. Neither are they. You know, you don't need to be an able, full-body person to know that the Cubs are not interested in baseball. Do you get my drift? By the way, I use humor. I love the Cubs and Sammy Sosa and all of that. I guess what I'm saying is that he had what in his shop?
Differences.
And he thought he had what?
Diversity.
Diversity. How do you know whether you have diversity of thought in your organization? Item. If and when you look around and you're making an important decision and everybody looks like you, you're doing it wrong. But if you look around and everybody does not look like you, but everybody thinks like you, you're really doing it wrong. Do I hear witness? Yeah. The purpose of diversity initiatives is to have diversity of thought at every level of the organization.